Southerners who are elitist in your callers. I don't understand that. That's just nasty.
I worked at a restaurant once. I used to have to take the trash, fill up the van, and dump it in the dump. You want to hear about that story?
He painted houses. He did He wasn't work construction.
Dishwasher, cook,
he dug
bartender,
ditches.
busboy.
Well, I was a waitress. I got fired, but I was a waitress.
Of course you got fired. You probably yelled at the people. It's a service industry.
This is okay. You better quit while you're ahead, Hannity, right now. You better quit while you're ahead. All right.
Have a good show.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Welcome to the Ingraham Angle from Washington. We have so much to cover tonight. Breaking news. We'll bring it to you, of course. And Democrats showing their true colors. Oh, sitting on their hands during key moments of the State of the Union. So classless. I'll tell you what it really means. Plus, we're all waiting to see what's in that FISA memo. We have some breaking news, as I said, on that. And when this might be released, we'll get to that shortly. Also, talk about a document dump. Hillary Clinton released an apology for ignoring that sexual harassment of a staffer just moments before the president's big speech. And we'll talk to the parents of a teenager slain by MS-13 gang members the night after the president offered his family, their family, condolences. But first, the Democrats' rage against Trump's optimism machine. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Last night, in his first State of the Union address, the president delivered what was perhaps the most robust defense of American exceptionalism since Reagan.
The state of our union is strong. This, in fact, is our new American moment. You can dream anything. You can be anything. And together, we can achieve absolutely anything.
Wow. Now, my question is, when we have this precious gift, liberty, that men and women fought and died for over the centuries, think about our flag, our country. Why wouldn't everyone believe that it's all worth protecting and preserving? That our traditions and the American people are worth protecting?
My duty, and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber, is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
Oh, now that last line sent the Never Trump media right over the edge.
You saw a divisive speech, the wedge issue of immigration, the scare tactics of MS-13. It was a speech delivered almost from an alternate reality.
You tell me
what about
that room is supposed to respond like this to the great dictator?
I think the frame that they felt in the room was one that inflames the cultural divides.
Only over at that other cable network would defending Americans and America be controversial. Now, call me crazy, but I think most Americans love it when their president stands up for them, is a cheerleader for them. Trump looked past the desperate detractors and toward true American heroes. The officer who adopted the child of a woman on drugs. Families who suffered the death of children at the hands of MS-13. And by the way, we're going to hear from one of those families later on in the show. And that brave North Korean defector who escaped to help others do the same. The president celebrated our anthem, the military, families, and faith. And, of course, the creation of 2 million new jobs, employee bonuses, not crumbs, business investment, optimism, all good stuff. Trump is making things demonstratively better, and the Democrats are seething because of that. When they can't even bear to acknowledge the good, when they can't even feign the appearance of being happy at good news for American workers and American business, something is really wrong. It's gone totally off the rails. The Democrats, I think, have allowed their personal hatred of Trump, the man, to blind them to all the good that's happening around them. Now, look at this CBS Snap poll taken right after the president's big speech last night. 8 in 10 Americans who watched the State of the Union felt that the president was trying to unite the country. 2/3 said the speech made them feel proud. And 1/3 said it made them feel safer. But check out the Democrat reaction today.
The president's speech was a disappointment and a missed opportunity.
What I consider to be the lowest point in the president's speech last night was when he says, Americans dream too.
It was dangerous what he said last night. What he is doing brings tears to the eyes of the Statue of Liberty.
Well, I don't know if Nancy should talk about tears and the Statue of Liberty, because that's a statue. The reality here is that by reflexively attacking Trump while providing no actual policy alternatives, Democrats undercut and undermine the public good. They call themselves progressives, but when there is actual progress, they recoil. Now, the left isn't afraid that Trump is going to fail. No way. They're afraid that he will succeed, and they're afraid that he is succeeding right now. I was thinking about this earlier today. I think their happiest moment, maybe since Roy Moore lost that Senate bid in Alabama, was when the stock market fell by 400 points yesterday. They were probably hoping that it would take another nosedive today, and that would be a permanent downturn. If America were a stock, they'd be shorting it. The Democrats went from hope and change to nope and strange. The Democrats are now officially post-American. They've become the grievance industrial complex, maybe a hodgepodge of leftist rage and hate, with one goal in mind: to keep their voters angry and resentful. So when Trump issues a call like this, they become unhinged.
We can lift our citizens from welfare to work, from dependence to independence, and from poverty to prosperity.
Democrats don't want to hear that, and they certainly don't want you hearing it. All things considered, and it's hard to say this, but I really actually believe this, they want us weak and poor. Because when you're weak, you need them, and they think they can sell you on big government, and in turn, they have more power over your life. Now, let's face it. The Democrats' politics of bitterness, I think it's pretty much out of gas. And their post-State of the Union temper tantrums show us that Democrats have become the worst stereotype that they tried really hard to foist on President Trump. They're angry, unserious, and hateful. And that's the angle. Joining us for Reaction in New York is Juan Williams. You see him weeknights here on FNC as co-host of The Five. And also in New York is John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the UN and a Fox News contributor. Juan, have at it.
Well, I was listening because I think that this was an opportunity for the president to reach out, to reach across the political aisle and bring us together. And I just don't see it. In fact, to me, this was an opportunity for a real debate about real policies. I don't think the president introduced any real policies last night. Instead, the people that you accuse of grievance and resentment, I think, are well represented by people who said, oh, we like this Trump speech because Trump says things like Americans dream too. Yeah, guess what? David Duke and the KKK love that. How about a kid, collecting flags for a funeral, a cemetery? Oh, but guess what? That means that people shouldn't be able to protest if they feel there's police brutality, says Trump. They're not respecting the flag. Yeah. Come on, well, you see this, it's clear. You're so smart.
When I think of the left always lurching to David Duke, that's like so 4 decades ago.
I'm sorry, this is what he said yesterday. That's
David,
not 4 years ago.
I'm talking about him. He's irrelevant. No one cares about David Duke. Except this is again, you're making my point.
Okay.
Trump talked about family leave. He talked about the opioid addiction. He talked about protecting all Americans. He talked about the American dream being accessible with hard work, faith, family, and a belief in oneself. How does any of that seem divisive? Because he used the word American and America as many times as he did. I think, Juan, not you. I'm not talking about you. But I think there are a lot of Democrats who they reflexively recoil when he says something like Americans have dreams too. That's what most people feel. Their dreams have been neglected by politicians in both parties for years, while illegal immigrants and other identity politics groups are catered to. And what he said last night is we're all Americans. Doesn't matter
I don't
where
know
you
how
came
you get
from.
an argument about that, Laura. I think everybody feels that way. We're all proud Americans. The thing is, if you start to talk about the Dreamers in that way and say, "Oh, Americans are dream," if
Well,
you
because
say,
American,
if you
it's our
say
country.
the Dreamers,
that's what he's talking about. It's
yeah,
our country.
he's separating us out and saying, "Oh,
right.
we
Right.
have dreams, they have dreams," instead of dealing with real immigration reform and a real policy.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay,
John,
because that's what he didn't do.
Well, but Juan, actually what he has done is he's more than doubled his initial offer of 800,000 illegal immigrants to
So
get
he can
amnesty,
cut
and now
legal
it's 1.8
immigration.
million. Well, it's called compromise. He's not getting everything he wants,
and
Democrats aren't going to get everything he wants.
In
John,
addition
here's
to the building the wall, $25 billion.
Okay, we'll get to that. The Democrats have offered no serious compromise at all. John, let's get to you on this. My point is the Democrats have left behind the idea of governing and governance, and they are in full resistance mode. And I think it's really telling when Clyburn said he reacted so negatively to the American Dreams line.
Yeah.
I can tell you, my listeners today on the radio, and they're not fans of David Duke, thank you very much. They love that because they think they've been neglected, and someone is finally speaking for them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the poll that you cited showed that Americans understand Trump was trying to reach out. And I think the Democrats' reaction was really the proof that the Henry Wallace wing of the Democratic Party has now finally and conclusively triumphed over the Harry Truman wing of the Democratic Party. That they have pushed themselves so far to the left that it's hard to see how they're going to come back. There is no Harry Truman wing in the Democratic Party anymore. There's no Scoop Jackson wing. There's no Joe Lieberman wing. It's really very similar to what's happened in Britain with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party. And this is a prescription for them to take themselves into political irrelevance because working class Democrats, the people who voted for Ronald Reagan, many of the same people and their children who voted for Donald Trump in the industrial Midwest, are appalled by this kind of behavior. And the Democrats are bringing it on themselves. I think it was so revealing. You couldn't have scripted it better.
Juan.
Well, by the way, I think that the ambassador's right about the parties going to the extreme, so that I think he's right. The Democrats are being driven to the farther left because of the antipathy towards President Trump. But also, remember, Republicans had a strong antipathy towards President Obama and were driven to the right. But when I look at this, and going back to what you were discussing at the top here, Laura, I look at President Trump coming out last night and saying, "I've got the biggest tax cut for you ever," and we both know that's not true. I look at what happened with the Black Caucus. You referenced Jim Clyburn sitting on their hands when he talks about lowest
Black unemployment.
Yes, and I think to myself, oh, I understand why Laura and Ambassador Bolton have that reaction, but I'm going to tell you my reaction, which is, wait a second. Unemployment for blacks and Hispanics has been going down since 2010. This guy comes in office for a year, and he wants to take all the credit as if somehow it was his policies that turned things around.
Yeah, but
that's
Juan,
a lie.
as if politicians who are in office for any period of time don't take credit for what's happened in the year previous. And
well,
I can say this.
If you want an honest debate, Laura, let's have an honest debate and not just grab all the credit for ourselves.
But Juan, when you see the public's reaction, in just a moment I'll play some callers to my radio show today. I mean, you see the public's reaction. You have to admit that the Democrats, they're out of step. And I think they're out of line. I really do. Substantive debate is great. And I think the Republicans, after when Obama came in, the Tea Party came to power in a way because they were debating Obamacare and the stimulus and the son of stimulus. It was a substantive debate on those issues, and then they had big wins in 2010 midterms. Right. It was substantive. There was personal invective. There was some of that, but there was substantive. They didn't walk out on Obama. Joe Wilson yelled something. They didn't walk out. You had Gutierrez yelling or making faces, and Joe Manchin kind of turned around at one point and looked at the Democrats, saying, "You guys aren't going to stand for this."
Well, you mentioned Joe Wilson. You just said it. Okay.
Yeah, one person. That's all I'm saying. It's not dozen people not showing up. Let's play this montage from my radio show today. Let's watch. Listen.
The Democrats actually seem the ones that are racist. You see where they say black unemployment, Latino unemployment went up. They're not happy about that.
I'm a very small business owner in West Virginia, and I was floundering at best under the Obama administration. I am thriving now.
I'm a Latino from Texas, and I just wanted to say that I'm proud to have a president that loves America finally.
It's great to have a president that's proud of this country, that wants to put Americans like me first.
John.
Look, I think Americans are very patriotic and with good reason, and it just completely confuses me why the Democrats get upset about it. But, you know, this is foreshadowed long ago. This is not an anti-Trump reaction on their part. Barack Obama was asked on his first overseas trip, do you believe in American exceptionalism? And he said the following: yes, I believe in American exceptionalism, just like the Brits believe in British exceptionalism and the Greeks believe in Greek exceptionalism. So while he says in the first third of the sentence, yeah, I believe it, so these right-wingers can't accuse me I don't, in the second third, he took it all away. How about Burkina Faso exceptionalism, Ecuadorian exceptionalism? The Democrats have a fundamental problem with the uniqueness of America. They didn't used to. Harry Truman didn't have any problem with it. He was a patriot. So the Democrats take this course. It's not a cultural war. This is something really that I think troubles Americans when they see that kind of reaction.
Juan, last word.
Well, no, I just think that when the president says that Americans believe in exceptionalism, I'm all for it. I also think that he was right, John, that other countries think that they're very special as well. But when I hear President Trump say things like, oh, you know, not only did I give you a great tax cut, but we've had such amazing growth, and he doesn't say, oh, yeah, China has more growth. Canada has more growth.
Whose fault is that?
India has more growth.
Dumb trade policy.
No, remember he said his
that.
policies were going to turn us around. I just think, John, at some point you got to wonder, is this just nationalistic rhetoric in order to gin up the base and not engage in what Laura asked for? Honest discussion of policies to move the country forward.
Well, China's just announced today they're moving a major solar company to the United States because of the tariffs that Trump just put in place. So
just remember this phrase, Juan.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Blue-collar Democrats. Blue-collar Democrats.
And by the way, guys, thank you so much. And the FBI is not going to let the president release that controversial FISA memo without a fight. Up next, Professor Dershowitz and a former top FBI agent explain what the Bureau may have to fear.
The Ingraham Angle is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Liberty stands with you.
Liberty Mutual stood with me when this guy got a flat tire in the middle of the night, so he got home safe.
Yeah, my dad says their insurance doesn't have that. What?
You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
When heartburn hits, fight back fast with Tums Chewy Bites. Fast relief in every bite. Crunchy outside, chewy inside. Tums Chewy Bites.
Don't let a win defeat your drive. Keep your eye on the ball.
You can be smarter when you strive.
There are no limits. Put yourself to the test.
Because better is a never-ending quest.
The all-new Accord Touring, now with a powerful turbocharged engine. It's our most impressive Honda ever.
Candace, 2 minutes. Too late for lunch.
Stocker saves the day.
Sweet and spicy tuna in a pouch. Smart choice, Charlie.
No drain, no pain, just tear, eat,
and go.
Try our new Tuna Creations bold flavors.
The closer you get to home, the more you know the commute is worth it. You and that John Deere tractor. You can keep dreaming up projects all the way home. It's a longer drive, but just like a John Deere, it's worth it.
Looks like you're not sleeping well.
How did you know? And Megan!
Hey, you're that guy.
The My Pillow guy.
That's right, and I'm here to help you get the best sleep of your lives. Just like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and none of them worked. That's why I invented My Pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck aligned. My Pillow will hold its shape all night long, regardless of your sleep position, for the best sleep of your life.
Call or go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code and save over 50% with Mike's 4-pack. You'll get 2 My Pillow premiums and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. It's one of his best offers ever.
You're sleeping better.
Much better.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
It's time to shine a new light on home security. Introducing Spotlight Cam by Ring, a motion-activated security camera.
You guys lost?
With powerful lights and an alarm.
We was looking for Jimmy.
180 degrees of advanced motion detection. Smart alerts to your phone.
I have you on camera. You need to leave.
So you always know what's going on. For smart security in every corner of your home. Available at ring.com.
Are the credit cards in your wallet actually the best ones for you? At NerdWallet, we sort through over 1,200 credit cards to find the top cards for balance transfer, travel, earning rewards, and other perks. Using your unique info to narrow the search, NerdWallet makes it easy to find credit cards that work harder than the ones you have now. Stop missing out. Visit NerdWallet.com to find the cards that are made for you.
Now, we told you last night how a mic caught President Trump saying he plans to release the House Intel Committee's controversial FISA memo. Earlier today, the White House Chief of Staff John Kelly implied its release was potentially imminent.
Our national security lawyers in the White House that work for me, work for the president, they're slicing and dicing it, looking at it so that we know what it means and what it understands.
Did you see it?
I did.
What do you think?
It'll be released here pretty quick, I think, and the whole world can see it.
Now, Fox sources are telling us it could be released tomorrow, and Adam Schiff just tweeted out that it's his understanding that the memo that was sent to the White House for review was changed somehow by Devin Nunes. We haven't confirmed that. And so he's complaining that the whole committee did not approve that. That just was tweeted a few moments ago. But the FBI is fighting back against the release, as we said earlier, issuing a statement today claiming the omissions of some facts impact the memo's accuracy. You need the full context, they say. Let's discuss all this with former Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz in Miami Beach, author of the bestseller Trumped Up: How Criminalization of Political Differences Endangers Democracy, and in Atlanta, Chris Swecker. He's a former head of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division in Washington and someone who personally knows Director Christopher Wray and Special Counsel Bob Mueller. All right, Professor, let's start with you here. There seems to be these dueling leaks coming out today. Some leaks of information about Peter Strzok and the timing of his knowledge of the emails that were found, the additional emails in the fall of 2016. But for the moment, let's focus on the release of this memo. Given what we know now, do you believe this memo should be released, should see the light of day?
Absolutely, and also the context should be released. So both sides have their say. Let the public decide. Let's see the memo. If people in the FBI think it's out of context, let them release the rest of the material in context and let the public decide. And as far as, the Strzok issue is concerned, it just shows what happens when the FBI doesn't have a clear rule that says no discussing ongoing criminal prosecutions except to say indictment, no indictment, especially during an election. If, in fact, Strzok tried to delay it, it probably backfired, because if it had been released earlier, then maybe they would have been able to decide there were no more classified materials, and they would have corrected it earlier. So whatever impacted on the election, this should never, ever happen, and we have to have rules preventing it from ever happening again.
Chris, you know Mueller, you know Wray. Christopher Wray under some fire, although he was, hugely praised by both sides at his own confirmation as head of the FBI. And your sense of where this is going tonight?
Well, as John Q. Citizen, I would love to see the memo. I would love to know if the FISA court was misled. I'd love to know if the FISA judge was aware that if the dossier information was included, that it was paid for by a political opponent. But the FBI executive in me, or former executive in me, says, let's play by the rules. Not like this. This is not how you release information from a partisan body like Congress. I just don't have any faith in congressional committees. I'm sorry. They've got their own agenda, and there's a process for releasing FISA information. I've used it. It's not that hard to use. There's a right way to do this, and I just like to see it done by the rules. You get in trouble when you start making up your own rules.
Well, what happens when the FBI makes up its own rules?
But I have to tell you.
What happens? Who's supposed to do oversight of the FBI?
I have to tell you.
Chris, Congress does the oversight of the FBI, and while they're amazing people at the FBI,
Right.
if there was a political animus, as Professor Dershowitz has talked about on this show so often, undergirding the start of this investigation and the FISA application itself, we got a real problem on our hands with politicizing law enforcement in the United States. And I'm a huge defender of law enforcement. So you got a balancing act. Yeah, follow the rules. What if the FBI wasn't following the rules and they were off half-cocked? Professor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
Professor,
you know,
go ahead.
it's so refreshing to hear conservatives and Republicans questioning and overseeing the FBI. That's something that we liberals did for years and years and years. Now the Democrats are saying, oh, the FBI is beyond reproach. We should never question law enforcement. And the conservatives are saying, well, we need transparency. We need accountability. Look, everybody should be in favor of accountability by the FBI. And in my experience, at least 99% of the time, when people claim national security need for censorship, when it ultimately gets released, it was not really so important. It was overstated. Look, the movie The Post, obviously the Pentagon Papers makes that point. The government got up in front of the Supreme Court and said the country would fall if the Pentagon Papers were released. And they were released, and of course only positive came from it. So in general, I'm in favor of disclosure and full transparency. And sure, you follow the rules, but the rules ought to err on the side of disclosure rather than suppression.
And just for clarity purposes, Adam Schiff's tweet that just was sent out, discovered late tonight that Chairman Nunes made material changes to the memo he sent to the White House, changes not approved by the committee. White House, therefore, reviewing a document the committee has not approved for release. And he attaches a copy of that document.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Chris. You can close it out, but you know you shouldn't. If that happened, and I don't know if it did or not. Well, you can't materially change a document that the committee hasn't approved. I would assume that that's a no-no. But we'll have to learn more about that. Chris, you know Mueller, you know Wray.
Right.
You also know the facts as they've developed about the agents and the Peter Strzok doing both investigations, Hillary email, and Trump. You have confidence in the outcome of this investigation?
I do have confidence in the outcome. I know Chris Wray. I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt in this under these circumstances. Look, I'm all for disclosure. The FBI is not a bunch of snowflakes. They can take criticism. They can take oversight. They should be transparent. But in this case, Chris has come forward. Now, he was approved with the overwhelming vote of the Senate. Let's give him the confidence. Let's give him the credibility, and let's go with his recommendation at this point. And let's do it right. If there's misconduct there, let's refer that to the Inspector General,
they are. You
which
keep
is
saying
basically
let's do it
internal
right.
affairs.
They are doing it right. I mean, you act as if. I mean, again, I'm putting aside this tweet by Schiff. They have done it right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Professor. They went through the process of the committee reviewing this document, reviewing its contents for national security concerns. The Chief of Staff, the President, other FBI officials, read it over. Wray and now FBI officials say, no, this is a grave issue of grave concern. That seems like, to me, it seems like a stretch. But I don't know. You keep saying do it by the rules. I think they have followed the rules. Again, setting aside this tweet that we can't confirm.
Just
Professor,
remember
final.
that constitutionally, the president has the authority to. The president has the authority to declassify anything. He is the ultimate authority on what can be declassified. And if he wants to see the memo out, nobody can really overrule that decision.
All right. And guys, thanks so much. And this brought tears to my eyes last night when President Trump offered prayers for our next guests. In just a moment, we're going to talk to the parents of a girl murdered by members of that savage MS-13 gang on Long Island. Stay there.
You wouldn't believe what's in this keister.
A farmer's market, a fire truck, even a marching band. And if I can get comfortable talking about this keister,
Then you can get comfortable using Preparation H.
for any sort of discomfort in yours.
Preparation H. Get comfortable with it.
My healthy routine helps me feel my best, so I add Activia yogurt to my day. With its billions of live and active probiotics, Activia may help support my digestive health, so I can take on my day. Activia, now in probiotic dailies.
Wow, Wayfair has everything.
Drop the mic. Everything I need? I'm done. Drop the mic.
Everything I need. Everything I like. Wayfair.
Drop the mic.
Everything home, all in one place. So get it done. Visit wayfair.com today.
Okay, you missed it. Scroll up. Up,
No,
up, up.
go down.
No, down, down,
Ooh,
down.
I want to
down.
watch the one where the guy says, Stella! Hey, Stella!
I wish I could search for it like that.
With Dish, you can. Stop scrolling and just tell the remote.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Wow, that was cool.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Whoa!
That was awesome.
The new Dish voice remote. Stop scrolling. Just say what you want, and it's on. Dish, tuned into you.
Mine's way better.
This one's below market price and has Bluetooth. Same here, but this one has leather seats.
Use the Cars.com app to compare price, features, and value.
Need a change of scenery? The Kayak Price Forecast tool tells you whether to wait or book your flight now, so you can be confident you're getting the best price. Giddy up. Kayak. Search one and done.
We are almost at the bank, sweetie. What did Mommy say about throwing Mr. Rabbit?
That was from me. Drag us into a bank to talk about a mortgage, I'll have a full-blown tantrum.
Where else would we go for a loan?
LendingTree.com. You can pull over right now and get up to 5 competing loan offers for free.
Get free loan offers faster than you got out of the house. LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
This is amazing.
No, this is amazing. Built-in snacks.
Ooh, I wouldn't.
Make winter fun and stay protected all season long with WeatherTech laser measured floor liners that protect the front, back, and even up the sides. Add a seat protector and a cargo liner to protect the rear. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com. WeatherTech, the ultimate protection for your vehicle.
And the wolf huffed and puffed.
Like you do sometimes, Grandpa?
Well, when you have COPD, it can be hard to breathe. It can be hard to get air out, which can make it hard to get air in. So I talked to my doctor. She said,
Symbicort could help you breathe better, starting within 5 minutes. Symbicort doesn't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden symptoms. Symbicort helps provide significant improvement of your lung function. Symbicort is for COPD, including chronic bronchitis and emphysema. It should not be taken more than twice a day. Symbicort contains formoterol. Medicines like formoterol increase the risk of death from asthma problems. Symbicort may increase your risk of lung infections, osteoporosis, and some eye problems. You should tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it.
Symbicort could mean a day with better breathing. Watch out, piggy.
Get Symbicort free for up to 1 year. Visit SaveOnSymbicort.com today to learn more. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Tonight, everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone in America is grieving for you. Please stand. Thank you very much.
An incredibly moving moment last night at the State of the Union. President Trump consoling the parents of 2 teenage girls. Now, police say that Nisa Mickens and Kayla Cuevas were chased down and brutally murdered by MS-13 gang members in Long Island in New York in 2016. 3 of the 4 people charged with the murders are illegal immigrants. President Trump honored Nisa and Kayla last night by inviting their parents to the speech. We reached out to Nisa's parents, Elizabeth Alvarado and Robert Mickens, and both are kind enough to join us and share their thoughts on the evening and the reaction to that moment. To both of you, I thought a lot about you both today in the aftermath of the speech and the reaction. And I want to say, for my listening audience on radio, and I know all the viewers on Fox, no words can express how incredibly devastated. I know you must be, and we just thank you so much for being brave enough to come on the show and talk to us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I want to first just ask you what it was like to be invited to the State of the Union speech. So many politicians haven't really confronted what MS-13 has done to American communities. Suffolk County and Long Island, especially hard hit in 2016 and 2017 by MS-13. What was it like to be invited?
It was definitely an honor, and we were still shocked about receiving an invite. And, you know, this is something that we would, if we was asked to do it again, we would definitely do it.
Yeah, we would.
And
it
Elizabeth?
was overwhelming.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It was very overwhelming, and I appreciated that, you know, that he let us come there to see him. It was an honor to see him.
And you met with him before the State of the Union speech briefly, and what was that like?
I'm sorry. It was good.
Me.
It was good. You know, when we walked into his office, it was just like breathtaking. And I had Nisa's pen on me, so I asked him if he would like, you know, if he could take it, you know, for a gift. And he took it, and he took pictures with it, and he took pictures with me with it. And you know, he's very genuine, very nice president. You know, I really am happy that I met him.
I want to ask you both what it felt like to find out that so many people in the room, they're mostly Democrats, did not stand up when you were recognized and when your daughter was recognized last night.
Well, I felt it was very disrespectful. For the simple fact, the Democrats who was there who did not stand up, they were African Americans. So that hurts me a lot, to show that they did not have the respect or to honor what just happened to our lives and to America's lives. And it's not right. You know, regardless of how they feel about the president, they should show the respect, because I would show them the respect if that was their loved one.
There was a woman on another cable channel earlier today, and I tried to put myself in your shoes, hearing some of the comments that were made after this amazing moment, where so many of us were literally crying with you. And her name is Joy Reid, and she said this.
He gives a speech tonight in which he makes it sound like the biggest issue in the United States, the biggest threat is MS-13, a gang nobody that doesn't watch Fox News has ever heard of. So he makes it sound like they're the biggest threat.
Elizabeth, like MS-13 is any big deal?
I have no words. I mean, these are gang members that just, you know, decided to be a judge and a jury to take my daughter out like that. It's unacceptable. I don't want it to happen to anybody else's family. But something needs to be done. And I won't stop doing what I'm doing until everything turns out right. I can only hope and pray that whoever's listening or any gang members, please stop the violence. It's enough. How much more blood do we have to shed?
Well, before we start enforcing our borders, they should never be in this country in the first place. If they weren't in this country in the first place, your daughter would still be alive today. That's what makes my blood boil. They should never have been here. Robert and Elizabeth, thank you. I know we're going to check back with you, and we wish you both, all the best. And I know it's a still searing pain for both of you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
It's, like I said, it's an honor.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And up next, are the Clintons up to their old tricks? We're going to explain. When a former Clinton friend sounds off, two fresh controversies brewing next.